Oh, I need to switch pin cushions. It's funny that I call this pin magnet a pin cushion. Hello, I am back for the final installment of Christmas in July. This is the 4th Christmas in July video that I've posted, and it has been such a fun time. First, we had the elf doll pattern. These little guys. So cute, right? Plus tips for sewing small things in that video. And then we had a video on little something gifts to sew when you just need to give someone something small. And then we had this super cool table runner tutorial. I love this. I cannot wait to get this out at Christmas time because I will kind of have forgotten about it by then. And it's gonna be a really fun surprise to get it back out. And then today, this is a pattern I've been wanting to make for a long time, but once Christmas rolls around, I never have time. So this is the kind of thing that you can start on now, and these do not have to be Christmassy, but we're gonna make gift bags today. So I have made a pattern for gift bags, reusable fabric gift bags in 6 different sizes. So the perks of making your own gift bags are, number 1, you can save money, especially if you're like me and can't resist buying Christmassy fabrics. And so now you have a drawer full of them, and there's never quite enough Christmas sewing projects that you have time to do to justify having all of that Christmas fabric. This is the best way to use it up. And they're also reusable. So if you have family members in your home all the time, then you can reuse them from year to year. Especially, it would be so sweet too if you put one of my little stocking tags, you hand embroidered their name and made it really special, and this is like their gift bag every year, or a set of them or whatever. Especially what if you made what if I made all my husband's gift bags in Star Wars fabrics like this one? He would love that. The downside to this is that your recipient might actually want to keep this and use it as a bag for traveling or all their little trinkets or whatever. But that's not necessarily a downside because then it becomes a gift within a gift. So this is going to be a tutorial for making these reusable gift bags. I just made this one. This is the wine size, the wine bottle size, or whatever bottle. What other kind of bottles could you put in here? Oh, coffee syrups. One time I gifted coffee syrups in a wine bottle bag. And in this one, I actually put interfacing inside, and I kind of like this one better because it stands up on its own. So these two, I did not do that, and they're fine also. But I think from now on, I'm gonna put interfacing in them, unless I was making the really big one, because I don't know if it would stand up on its own anyway. I'll have to experiment and find out. But you can hop over to my shop, and while Christmas in July is still going through the end of July, you can get 15% off all of the holiday patterns in my shop. So I'll put the link below. You can use the code July, or you can shop on Etsy. No code is needed on Etsy. They're just on sale through the month. That includes the cutie little elf dolls. My favorite. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Oh, the printable version of this pattern comes with this handy little size chart, which I'll be referencing while we make this little gift bag today. I'm gonna make the small size because there's some extra little tips in there for sewing like a small tube. Yeah, so I'm gonna make the small one. So I'm Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started making some gift bags. Okay, things you're going to need are fabrics, of course. I did not include yardage because I included the cutting size, and this is the measurement of yardage you'll need to buy. So most of these can be done with scraps or small pieces, half yard cuts or whatever, except for the very largest one, you would need 3/4 of a yard. So I'm going to make the small one. By the way, my son is practicing guitar, so that is the explanation I have for the noise if you can hear that. So I'm going to, and then also you need a lining fabric. I went and bought several yards of white muslin because it's very inexpensive and it will work for all of the bags. I toyed with the idea of making them unlined, but I want these to last, you know, so I like the lined ones. And then I have this medium weight interfacing. This part is optional, like I said, but I do think for a gift bag, they stand up better if they're interfaced. And then also you need some kind of, I have this cotton rope string, or you need like grosgrain ribbon or rickrack or some kind of trim for the drawstring. Let's go. Let's see. So I'm going to make, oh, I think I already made this size. I'm gonna make the extra small. So the finished size for this one is 5.5 by 5.5, and that means below the drawstring, 5.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut my piece of fabric 12 by 8.5. Now, if you're using a directional print like me, you need to cut this way needs to be 12, this way needs to be high. So you want the width to go with the print of your fabric. Let me give this an iron. Okay, so let me iron a nice piece of this. All right, let's see if I can make the best use of this print that I can. Definitely want a Christmas tree in the middle. 12 this way, so 6.5, 8.5 this way. Let me cut a straight line here and see what happens. All right, you don't have to be as fussy as me, but I really wanted a Christmas tree in the middle. At least on one side of the bag. So this is going to be a pretty small bag, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and cut my lining and my interfacing the same. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fuse my interfacing onto my front piece. Make sure the bumpy side is on the wrong side of your fabric. I want to know if anyone actually follows the manufacturer instructions that come with interfacing. I never have read them. I think one time my mom asked me, well, do you wet your interfacing? And I was like, what? No. And she goes, well, the instructions tell you to. And no, I've never done that. Here is my outside piece. So now I'm going to fold this in half this way, hamburger style. And I'm going to finger press, especially at the bottom. I want a nice finger pressed edge here. And then I'm going to sew the sides and bottom together, but I'm going to leave an opening. The first pin is going to be 1.25 inches from the top edge. And this opening is for your drawstring casing later. And then the next pin is going to go 1.75 inches down from the top. And this is going to leave a 1/2 inch opening. So then I'm just going to go stitch this in a 1/4 inch seam, leaving this open. So sew, backstitch, sew, and all the way to this edge here. Okay, I'm going to finger press the opening, the seam open, at least at the top. If you can get your iron in there, sometimes you can get it in there on the inside. Press that a little bit. This small version is a little trickier. That's why I'm making this one for the demo. Okay, now we need to box the corners. So basically you're going to create this nice triangle down here by bringing your two seams together. I like to open them up just because it looks nice. So you want to make sure your seams are aligned. Sometimes it helps to stick a pin through to make sure. Pretty good, because you don't want them wonky. Then your corners will end up uneven. You want to get that other corner out of the way and kind of flatten this one. And then your nice little chart here, on the extra small, I'm going to measure 2 inches. I like to use this kind of ruler because then I can put my little 45-degree angle here. And box corners can be any size. So you see how if I move it in and out, I can make a 3-inch across here or a 1-inch across for a really small one. But on my chart, it says for the extra small size, I'm going to make this line be 2 inches. So I'm going to get my pencil. I'm going to align my seam line with a straight line here, and I'm going to mark from edge to edge, and that measures 2 inches across. See? And I'm going to go stitch that. Okay, and then once I've stitched it, I'm going to chop it off. 1/4 inch from my stitching. Now on this side, I don't have a seam. What I do have is my finger pressed crease. So I'm going to open up this seam if I can. And I'm gonna line it up with my finger pressed crease. Mainly you wanna make sure this seam is right in the center where it needs to be. Pretty close. Let me scooch it over a little bit. Yep, okay. And then I'm going to lay this flat, move this out of the way, and again, mark my 2-inch across line. You wanna make sure you're not going like this. You wanna make sure your seam is lined up with something on your ruler so that you're getting a nice 2 inches. Mark it and sew it and chop her off. Okay, now you have nice little boxed corners. I'm gonna turn her right side out. Ooh, I did good aligning my Christmas tree in the middle. Good job, Nikki. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside for just a second while I make the lining. The lining goes pretty much the same way, except this time you don't need a drawstring opening. You need an opening for turning it right side out. So usually I like to leave like a 4-inch opening on this small one. Let's see if I have space for that. Maybe. So I like to leave the opening in the side. You don't want your opening to be too far down. Mine's gonna be from here to here because you're gonna box these corners and you don't want a hole in your corner. So I'm gonna go stitch this, leaving this part open and all the way across the bottom. All right. And then I'm going to box the corners the same way that I did for the outside bag. The bigger you make the seam line, like in this one it's 2 inches, the bigger you make it, the bigger boxed corner or the bigger base your bag will have. So if you are wrapping something that's an awkward size, like a basketball, you could make the larger bag or the extra large bag maybe, and you could decide that you wanted the base to be bigger to fit your basketball, and you can just make a bigger seam right here. I think for the extra large one, I recommend 4 inches across. You could even do 6, and then you would have almost like a cube bag. Wow, my son is sounding pretty good on that guitar actually. This time I'm just gonna pin them both at the same time. Can you hear Layla singing? Always noise going on at the Shriner's house. Okay, I'm gonna go sew both of these boxed corners. Okay, so this one has an opening here. This one has a tiny opening here. That's what you want. I'm not going to turn this right side out. I'm just going to find my seams. I'm going to insert this bag into its lining, right sides together. So my outside piece is right side out. My lining piece is wrong side out, so that right sides can match. I'm going to match up these seams. Oh, I need to switch pin cushions. It's funny that I call this pin magnet a pin cushion. Okay, and then you're just going to match the top edges up all the way around. And this is the part I want to show you a little secret for, because if you're like me, my machine does not have the removable arm so that you can put a tube over it and sew around. Mine doesn't have that. And even if yours does, this might be too small to fit over your arm. So I'm going to show you what I like to do with these little tubes. Instead of sewing on the outside like this, I'm going to put my presser foot in here and sew on the inside. Good. Okay, I sewed this by putting it inside here. Instead of sewing from the outside of the tube, it's very easy to move this along as you go, rather than trying to sew it from the outside and keeping all of the under stuff out of the way. And if you think about it, our grandmas had those old treadle machines and they didn't have the removable arms either, so this is how they did it. Sew from the inside. Okay, I'm going to pull this right side out through the opening I left in the lining. And before I stick the lining inside the bag, I'm going to sew this hole up. So I'm going to just turn it inside as if I had sewn it. I'm going to edge stitch the opening closed. Okie dokie. Now I can stick it inside. I only have a few steps left. So I want to make this nice and neat, make my corners nice and neat. It's so cute so far. I love the little size. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is iron the outside. I'm actually going to do it from this side, because again, on this small size, I'm going to need to sew it from the inside of this circle. And this is also an easier way to press it. Especially if you have a mini iron like this, you can really get inside there because you want this edge to be nice and crisp and you want everything laying flat. This is just the Panasonic mini iron. I will link it for you. I really like it. It does the job and it was inexpensive. I can link for you this wool pressing mat too, because I really do use it a lot. When I'm quilting, I just put it next to my machine and that's nice. So now, because I'm not going to top stitch close to the top edge, I'm actually going to top stitch an inch down. I'm going to place a line of pins so that everything is flat. I'm going to put the pins about an inch down from the top edge. Okay, and I'm going to sew 2 rows of top stitching here. One of them is going to be an inch from the folded edge or from the top edge, and the other is going to be an inch and a half from the top edge, and these should correspond with the opening you left. So one row of stitching is going to be right above the opening and the other is right below. If somehow you got a little messed up and yours is different, then just redo these measurements. Like say maybe you need to make yours 3/4 of an inch, or wherever your hole is, you want your stitching lines to be on either side of your opening. Okay, and once again I'm going to sew it from the inside of my tube instead of trying to fight it from the outside. So I have a 1 inch mark here on my machine. I'm going to start anywhere and start sewing. Just stop and smooth because the tube is small. You need to readjust every several stitches, or else you might get tucks in the lining, which isn't the end of the world. It's just the lining. If you're a beginner, don't worry. It takes practice to get all of this to stay smooth. The next one is a 1/2 inch down from that. Helps to make sure everything just around the presser foot is flat. Okay, so I finished. Oh, I'm crooked. My bad, Layla. Okay, I'm gonna turn her right side out. And now all I have to do is the drawstring. So let's see, extra small bag needs 19 inches of string. And because this is like something that frays kind of easily, I like to put a knot in it in order to give my safety pin something to latch onto. And then I simply insert the string into the casing. Simply. See how simple it's going? There we go. Okay. And out the other side. This is why you wanted your seam pressed open so that you don't have an issue here. But I made a mistake on one and it was fine. It threaded through just fine. Okay, take off the safety pin, cut off the knot, and knot the ends together. Pull it tight and trim. And there we go, our cutie little gift bag. Look how cute. I love this size. I think it's so cute. And look at this, handmade with cursing. I mean, love. You can buy these funny sewing gift tags also in my shop and also on sale in the month of July. There's 3 of them, but this is my favorite. I really hope you have enjoyed this. Remember, this pattern comes in 6 sizes. I have done all the work for you. So all you have to do is start sewing, and you can easily batch sew a bunch of these. I don't know about you, but I tend to make or buy a similar gift for like various family members. And so if I were to just buy those gifts and batch sew the same size of gift bags, and if you do them now, you will be so happy with yourself in December when it's already done. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please come back in August. I have lots of fun stuff planned, including my first experience entering a quilt into the Kentucky State Fair. So yeah, I'm excited about what's to come, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.